North Carolina Congressman Madison Cawthorn is in hot water again. A report by the Washington Examiner reveals that he could have violated federal insider trading laws. Kim, you were following that a little more closely. What's the story?
Yeah, so what happened was back in December, Madison Cawthorn attended a party, and at the party he was hanging out with, there's photographs of him hanging out with this guy, James Catullus, who's a hedge fund manager and the ringleader of a cryptocurrency called Let's Go Brandon. So, they made a cryptocurrency off of the chant. So it's LGB crypto is what they're calling it. Well, on that same day after hanging out with this guy at this party, Madison Cawthorn posted to his Instagram account, LGB legends, tomorrow we go to the moon, okay? Then the very next day on December 30th, NASCAR driver Brandon Brown announced that the meme coin would be the primary sponsor of his 2022 season. And that then made the coin skyrocket 75% in value. I think it hit up to like $530 million or something along those lines. So it's considered a pump and dump because it went up way high in value. By January, it was worth nothing at some point in January, right? But people are now looking. So all these watchdogs are looking at Madison Cawthorn and saying, wait a minute. The day before this announcement of this NASCAR driver saying that this LGB coin was going to be a sponsor, he says, LGB legends, let's go to the moon. He's talking to the manager of this crypto who probably struck the deal with the NASCAR driver. And so they're accusing him of insider trading. In fact, Dylan Hetler-Gaudet, who is the government affairs manager for Project on Government Oversight, which is a federal watchdog group, said this looks really, really bad. This does look like a classic case of you got some insider information and acting on that information, and that's illegal.
But
however, other people are saying he didn't really buy anything. So is that insider trading?
Well, and I guess it's not the, well, maybe it's insider trading, but it's, I don't know, it's kind of a weird situation, right? He didn't find out this information like as a result of like government insider information. He wasn't at some hearing where he got information and walked out of it. I guess that's the Stock Act violation type stuff. I guess that's not. I guess insider trading could just be any time you learn information about what.
No, you would have to act on it. So I don't think this is insider trading unless they have to investigate. I mean, look, if they investigate and they find out that on December 29th, and he posts this on Instagram, LGB legends, let's go to the moon, and then he goes to his computer and he buys more crypto of this particular cryptocurrency, or does any sort of trading at all regarding this cryptocurrency, that could be considered insider trading. If he just learns this information and says, awesome, let's go to the moon, and then does nothing and doesn't actually act on it in any way, I don't know how that would be considered insider trading. You have to actually act on it and benefit by that information or cause some sort of consequence from having that insider non-public information. And it's not really clear that he did have that information. So we'll see. But
this is reminding me that I'm not really, I don't think I really even agree that insider trading should be illegal if that's all it is, if it's just...
No, I don't think that is. I think that they're accusing him of insider trading, but I think on the surface, what's happened is not insider trading. So I don't think I think that it'll have to go into an investigation to find out if he actually did.
Right. But even if he did buy, isn't it just a sound investment or something based on being kind of smarter?
Well, I mean, that's not smarter. That's knowing something that other people don't know, some inside information. That's absolutely illegal. That should be illegal, for sure.
I don't know why. I don't know that it is illegal, you're right. I guess I don't know why it should be a crime, I guess.
Because if you know something, for example, and let's say in the reverse, so it's not just making a bunch of money, you might think, oh, that's a positive. But let's say you find out something negative about the company and you decide to sell prior because you're like, oh crap, I know something. You sell to an unsuspecting person who buys it at that price. You know it's a bad deal. You know it's a lemon, and you've just sold them like selling them a bad car knowingly.
Well, people who play the stock market should be more careful. I guess I don't. It's not a crime. It's just like you would know more information about various. I don't see why it's like people. That's a. Well, if the information was obtained, unless the information itself was obtained, again, unethically or through some kind of government
it's
insider
unethical.
knowledge, then I would think it's unethical. But it
Well,
still has
anyway,
as long as it has the actual value when you sell it. But I don't. That's a maybe this is a fringe libertarian view that this isn't actually a crime.
So I think it might be.
But this is not the only thing Cawthorn has gotten. And again, we don't know for sure that this actually is anything necessarily illegally wrong, which kind of describes a lot of his problems. But he keeps being in the news for various things. For this, so he apparently he was cited this week for carrying a loaded gun through the TSA, and this is the second time he's had some kind of thing of that bringing a weapon where you're not supposed to. Again, I don't think the TSA should even exist, but usually I'm annoyed when they confiscate my hairspray or whatever it is. Don't take a loaded gun through the TSA. Come on, how stupid is that?
Yeah, even in the Idaho airport, I'm from Idaho, a lot of gun owners in Idaho, and at the airport, they actually have signs on the doors before you enter the airport saying, you can't have a loaded gun in here, just so everybody is clear. And it's actually painted on the ground as well. So maybe the Charlotte, was it Charlotte that he got caught in for this? Maybe they don't have, maybe they should think about also painting those signs on the floors. I don't see them here in LA, but I do see them in Idaho. So maybe that needs to be more explicit to people. But yeah, this is the second time he was caught with a loaded weapon going through an airport. The other time was around January 6th. I'm not sure where he was traveling to, but I know it was around that time. So at least that's what the news always reports, and maybe because they're trying to make it sound a little bit more sinister. I don't know the full story on it, but yeah, this guy, Madison Cawthorn is such a, he's a young guy. If you remember, he was just accusing lawmakers of having wild orgies and doing cocaine.
Yeah, right? And then he kind of walked that back after he was called out, right? Kevin McCarthy was like, okay, well, you got to name names or shut up. And then he didn't name names. Yeah.
I just think he's so immature. He's just an immature guy, right? Seems very immature. And is he the youngest person in Congress right now?
I think he's the youngest person in Congress, ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, he's kind of acting like it, right? With these, let's go to the moon, and he's like LGB crypto, and I'm going to bring a loaded weapon through these airports twice and talk about wild orgies and cocaine. And,
Right.
I don't know.
Did you see those pictures? And I thought that was ridiculous, very cancel culture adjacent. He was getting attacked by some people. Did you see those pictures of him from the last week? There's pictures of him on a cruise or something, and he's wearing women's earrings, and it's some kind of costume thing where he's dressed in a feminine way, which I guess is maybe people are trying to say that's hypocritical because he's taken this very hard right, no drag queens reading to kids or that kind of the groomer type thing. So maybe they're trying to say it's hypocritical of him. I there's embarrassing pictures of everyone, right? There's nothing wrong with whatever. But that was another scandal he had the other week.
Oh, he's just riddled with scandals. But, I always look at these kind of scandals, and I'm always, one of my first thoughts is, okay, I get it. I'm reading it at face value. I hear these scandals, but is this person being, are they trying to get rid of him? Is the Republican establishment against him? Do they not like some of his, I don't know enough about Madison Cawthorn, what he's been saying for Republican circles. You would know better than I do on that. But, is he taking an anti-establishment line? And so are they kind of going after him? But then, look, if you're going to bring a loaded weapon into an airport, that's you. That's not some narrative spinning, right? That's not just them pinning something on you like I think they've done to other people. Where Matt Gaetz, I think they do unfairly go after him and try to pin some really heinous stuff on him. Maybe it's true, maybe it isn't, but I do think the establishment really does not like him, and so I'm always suspect when it's same what happens to Democrats all the time as well. Happened to Bernie Sanders, notoriously, most famously, I think, regularly by the Democratic establishment. So, but Madison Cawthorn does. I think he kind of digs his own holes.
Well, I was defending him, when he first got to Congress. He got accused of some sexual harassment stuff, and there was this weird piece accusing him of being a secret Nazi because of. Right. It was very one of those kind of Russiagate, connect the dots, the hand gesture Nazism kind of stuff that I thought was totally ridiculous. But it does look to me the part of that reporting on him that did look more accurate was that it did seem to me like he had kind of inflated his some of his background and whether he'd been interested in doing the military and that kind of thing.
Oh, right.
So it just speaks. I do think there's an immaturity with him. I don't know that he's the most qualified necessarily to be a congressperson. He's not a bad dude. Not everything he's done is wrong. I don't think he's a Nazi, but I'm not sure he needs to be a congressman either. If that's fair.
I think everybody's qualified if you're an American citizen and you want to be, I like seeing the variety of people in there that are coming from all walks of life. I think it should be more reflective of all the many different types of people that we have here in America. But yeah, I mean, maybe he could grow up a little bit.
Think if our Congress is reflective of all the people in America, I'd have a very negative view of the people in America. Our Congress is an embarrassment. My statement always is that I don't care if any individual one of them resign. They should just all resign because they're all an embarrassment and they're all bad and they all don't care and they're just performing. They're just they're being entertainment figures. They're being talking heads. They're not doing any actual legislating. It's a performance with all of them, and some of them do the performance better, and some of them do it less well. But it's not not real.
Congress, the least effective, most useless branch of government at this point. They don't do much.
Most ineffective organization ever to ever exist. Not even among the branches of government, but just ever.
Gotta fix it, that's for sure. All right.
Anyway.
Well, we do have more Rising coming up next. I think we have our panel. We're going to be talking about inflation, soaring inflation, and the impacts that's having on, of course, Democrats and Republicans coming up this fall. So that's coming up next.